want me then overnight, boom, the flip switched and you're getting abused on social media, you're getting threats.
I'd say one piece of advice I'd give to my younger self is...
Especially in today's society, you almost need something to concentrate on to divert your negative energy.
Doing things wrong before getting it right makes the end result better as well.
Exactly.
Every day is on the phone. What's going on? Any updates? Any this and that? And then my mum passed away.
Because you don't know who's going through what, and we really, to improve ourselves and better ourselves, we need to kind of help everybody together.
100%.
Since then, it's sort of always in the back of my mind, need to pray, because it helped you then.
Yeah.
And it's something that saved my life, definitely.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to South Asian boxing, I'm sure Aqib would agree, I'm probably the most controversial South Asian boxer.
I've seen a few things.
He's doing it so seductively as well.
Today I'm joined by Aqib Fiaz, Hamzah Sheeraz and Sannah Adam at the new brunch spot in Manchester called Luso. Today we discuss the challenge of coming from a South Asian background on the route to becoming professional athletes. We also uncovered how entering the sports industry at a young age can affect your psychological well-being. Welcome to today's video. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Good afternoon.
We're at Luso. Have you guys been here before?
First time.
No, before looks good.
You ready to try some food?
Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into
Starving.
it. So of course you guys are all really successful in your industries. What got you all into boxing initially? Sannah, do you want to start?
I started boxing, I'd say quite blindly, not actually wanting, I didn't have a certain passion for boxing. It was off the back of my Duke of Edinburgh award where I needed a physical section.
What did you get to on the Duke of Edinburgh?
I did up to my silver.
I got to gold.
Did you?
I'm actually really impressed. Did you guys?
That's really good.
I always wanted to do it, but I never got down to doing it.
Yes.
It's really
I
good.
enjoyed it, but that's how you got into boxing.
Yeah, my school didn't actually provide a Duke of Edinburgh opportunity at the time, so I did it externally. Hence why
How old was you when you done it?
I think I was 15.
Okay.
No, actually, I was younger. I was probably 13,
Did you start
14.
at 14? Yeah.
I was in school. So I think, 13, 14, and that's how I got into boxing. I needed a physical section for my silver. My brother was starting boxing at the time, so I thought I'd join him, and I loved it.
So you've been doing it a while then, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been quite a while. On and off with my studies here and there.
He's trying to call you old.
I always found myself gravitating back towards it.
Boxing specifically.
Always. I think it really helped in between my studies.
Yeah.
Kept me sane. Sometimes after a long day, I just want to go and punch a bag.
Oh, you got the bug, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the bug. It's
When
quite
did you get the bug?
Early.
Boxing bug.
About 8 years old, I think I was.
Oh,
I started
okay.
boxing. I was really fat as a kid.
I've seen some of your TikToks of the
Yeah.
transformation.
I think
work.
you was heavier as a kid than you are now.
Yeah. So I just got into boxing to lose weight really,
Yeah.
and stopped fighting in school and messing about really. I was only young, 7, 8 years old, and my dad took me to a boxing gym.
And then, at what point did you know that you wanted to go?
When I started losing weight.
Okay.
For the first couple of years, I wasn't the best. I was losing fights all the time. And then it just 14, 15 sort of flipped round and
And then
started
you got
getting,
into it.
started doing okay, yeah.
And Hamzah, you come from quite a sporty background,
Yeah.
family-wise.
Yeah.
So do you think that's what maybe pushed you a bit more?
Yeah,
to-
you could say that. I mean, compared to these guys, mine's a very simple story. I walked into the gym at 8 years old.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back since. It's as simple as that. And I think when I was about 17, when I first signed my pro contract, I realised like I want to take it as far as I can. So yeah, that's my story. That's how I got into it.
Yeah, and which family members are involved in
So
sports?
my father was a professional cricketer, but
Right.
my uncle was the one who actually took me to the gym, to
Oh,
boxing gym.
okay.
He was an 8-9 time national amateur champion.
Yeah.
Back in the days where for a British Pakistani it was almost unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one who took me to a gym, and when I won my first pro title, he was there in my corner as well. So he's been there on the journey. It's been great.
Yeah. So you said your dad was a professional cricketer. Did you ever try cricket?
I'm good at cricket.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm very like
Oh.
till about I stopped at about 16. But
Oh.
up until then, it was boxing and cricket.
So what?
So if I wasn't
made you
boxing, I was playing
choose?
cricket, and if I wasn't playing cricket, I was boxing. But I don't know what made me choose. That's a good question. I think I just like the fact of beating people up.
Right.
It's simple, but you got to remember, it's not always beating people
Yeah,
up. You get
no.
beat up yourself as well.
Yeah.
Plenty of them days. But yeah, no, I think that was it. It was more, it kind of like, I gravitated towards it.
Because they're quite different sports, aren't they? Like with boxing,
Yeah,
as in, so with cricket, you're on a team.
yeah.
And there's a different approach
Yeah.
to training for cricket, whereas boxing, you're by yourself. So.
Yeah, no, I think like being by myself, I like that whole element of it.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
in a team, you kind of almost depend on other people,
relying
and you can
on
almost
them,
blame other people if things go bad. But I mean, when it comes to boxing, you only got yourself to blame at the end of the day because you're in control of what you do.
So it's that accountability.
Literally, that's what it is. I think obviously as a youngster, you don't really take that into account. You don't really realise like this is a lonesome sport. It's when you get older and you start to realise the consequences of potentially losing.
Yeah, of course. And then also another thing that you guys have in common, it's not just boxing. You're from South Asian backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you think coming from a ethnic minority background affected your progress into your career?
Definitely, I think starting out really, you're at a disadvantage, I think. But I think over the years it's sort of improved really, hasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. If you look at it now, there's like loads coming up.
Yeah.
There are loads coming up. And the good thing, myself and Aqib, we've always had a good. I think even if we wasn't boxing, I think we'd still be mates because we just get along like that. But if you look now, we're almost, you could say, nearly taken over the sport of boxing, and hopefully other sports in the future as well.
Yeah. But then that is a recent thing though, isn't it? You're
Yes.
seeing
Oh yeah,
more
100%.
South Asians getting in there. So for you, when you were starting up, who were your role models in the boxing world?
I loved obviously Emaan Khan, Muhammad Ali, I used to like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And just that they sort of made you fall in love with boxing more than anything. It was
But as
difficult.
you said, those role models that you look up to are somebody that you can relate to. So whether it's through religion
yeah.
or
That's-
ethnic background.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I think nowadays it's really important for you guys to be those role models for the younger generations.
Yeah.
Because as you said, you didn't have many people to look up to in terms of
Yeah.
what you can personally relate
Yeah,
with.
Yeah, no,
So-
it goes back to what Aqib was saying. I think the most relatable for us was obviously Emaan Khan being a British Pakistani. But if you look at it now, it's not just males in the South Asian community, it's the females as well. I believe you're one of the first women to actually be actively involved and inspiring the younger generation, right?
Yeah, I'd say being from Bolton, obviously we have Emaan Khan, but for myself, there was never a female role model South Asian figure, and I think that's what kind of pushed me to keep on going, because I had a lot of girls that asking me, "Oh, you do boxing? That's so good," but I knew that they'd never get into it unless somebody pushed it forward.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided that I'd put on my own classes and give other girls the opportunity to be able to experience it as well.
And you use that via social media as well, right?
Yeah, social media as well. I've kind of, it's what I'm known for now, in Bolton. So I think it's a good thing, and obviously there's areas outside as well, and I'd love to expand and kind of take that further. But I think in terms of role models, another role model for me, as well as Emaan Khan, is Baroness Brady. So to see her kind of pick up a whole football club and kind of take charge of that. And one thing I love about something she mentioned in the podcast, when she walked in, she asked where the director's office was. And the steward said, "Oh, the director's wife's office is that way." And that's when she said, "Actually, I'm not a director's wife. I am the new managing director." So I think it's really nice to see women get more involved in sport as well.
Yeah. And also as part of your role as a coach, part of your job is to motivate the young girls who are attending your classes. So how would you say that you do that as their boxing coach?
I like to be a coach and a friend, and as well as boxing, I appreciate that some girls literally come to take their mind off things for their own mental health and a sense of community. So it's a place where anybody can come and be themselves and make new friends. So it's more than just a boxing gym in there.
And when I was having a chat with you prior to this,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you wanted to include the not just the physical health benefits, you also want to look at the mental health side of it. So as you said, being a friend to these young girls and being someone they can look up to, but also open up to. And I think that's really important in our generation.
Yeah.
Because we don't have these youth groups that there used to be a few, like around 10 years ago, they used to have these youth groups that were easily accessible. But the fact that you're providing a service that doesn't look after just physical health, it's also mental health, and it's a place where you can feel like you're part of a community. It's really great.
I think it's something that I've picked up on over the years, and every now and again it's things that I get to hear which I'd say I wouldn't really like if I was in that position, and girls not being able to open up about certain situations or something that's happened, and
you give them that, you create that opportunity for them.
You have these taboo issues, and for that reason sort of create a safe space so anybody can talk about anything, because you don't know who's going through what, and we really, to improve ourselves and better ourselves, we need to kind of help everybody together.
Yeah, no, of course, and especially within our culture as well.
Yeah.
You can't talk about mental health, you can't talk about certain problems, and as you said, it is a taboo. You can't, pick up on certain things. So having that outlet where you can speak to friends, speak to somebody who has the power to help you is really valuable nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's commendable what you do to put yourself out there in our community, like you just mentioned as well. Women don't, before you guys and stuff, you never saw a woman coach, did you?
No.
And it's someone that a lot of obviously.
You almost got to applaud her, because you remember coming obviously from a South Asian background, it's almost frowned upon. A woman in combat sport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I mean, the more we see nowadays, the more accepted it is coming in our community, and I think it's showing it's not such a bad thing.
It's important for our women as well, even just as a health perspective. Really, they don't want a lot of them don't want a male coach.
Soon they'll start beating their husbands up.
I've actually got a question for Aqib and Hamzah. Obviously, being Asian, it's always like go to school, go to uni, get a degree. Did you ever feel like you were in a position where you were balancing the academics alongside your boxing, or did there come a point where you just knew you were wanting to do boxing and then that was supported?
I think for me, I always had my family support from day one, because obviously my father was he's been a professional athlete and he understands what it takes, and he just said to me from day one, he goes, if you're going to do it all, like do it like with 100% or nothing at all. But I mean, I understand you need some basis of education. I'm not saying to anyone listening, I'm not saying don't have any education and totally prioritise boxing. Like I got up to my first year of A-levels, and then after that I went boxing 100%. After that I went boxing 100%. But yeah, there was no pressure on me or nothing like that. I've been blessed. I always say it to the youngsters coming up as well, like most of them come to me and say, oh, my dad wants me to do this, my mum wants me to do that. I say, if you have that understanding with your parents, just find that common ground and just say, yeah, I'll do up to this certain degree of education, and I'll go follow my dream. So it all depends, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think situations are different, aren't they?
Yeah.
With me, it was my mum kind of forced me to go to college, university. So it was. But looking back, it was obviously your parents want best for you, and my advice to young kids is always listen to your parents, because they do really want, they've got your best interests. So looking back, at the time I was obviously frustrated. It was frustrating. Oh, I should be boxing, should be training. But looking back, it was obviously the right thing for me, because I think
at the end of the day, you never know what can happen in boxing.
No.
Right? At least you got something to fall back on.
Yeah.
So I think that's if you look at it from your parents' point of view, that's what it is. They're like, almost like, follow your dream, but make sure you have something there to fall back.
I think especially with boxing, the prime age to fight is when you're deciding whether to go to uni or not. So it is a big decision.
Yeah.
100%. Like both of us turned pro pretty young, really.
Yeah.
Around that time where you're in college, university, so it's either put your eggs in one basket or the other. It's very hard to sort of put.
You can't be half-hearted, especially when you're risking your life. Do you know what I mean? So if you look at it like that, you have to go all out, really.
Yeah, like for me in college was pretty easy, so I passed. It was all okay, and then university took a lot of time. So I did 1 year, and then I signed to Matchroom the second year. So that's when I said to my mum, look, that's it now. I can't do it no more, because the fights are getting harder. Training's getting more and more serious, and I'm going to get hurt. You know what I mean? If you're not putting all your eggs in that basket, so you got to make a decision, I think, at the time for yourself.
Yeah, of course. And then once you made those decisions, were your family supportive?
Yeah, 100%. Mum was always. Initially, I didn't go to college because I boxed in a tournament where I boxed an Irish kid who was a full-time boxer at 16.
That was in Haringey box.
Paddy Donovan, you were there, your dad was there, remember? And I remember saying to Mum, these guys are fighting. and training all day. That's why they're beating me. So I said I'm not going to college, and I didn't go to college for the first week. Mum didn't even talk to me.
Oh no.
She didn't talk to me, and I was like, I'll go to college. So, I went to college. So yeah, I had to go really. But looking back, it was the best thing for me.
Yeah. But as you said, you completed college.
Yeah,
Pass.
completed college, and then I completed a year at university.
Yeah.
To be fair, even the first year of uni was boxing full time. The teachers didn't know who I was, to be fair.
Sannah, you run boxing lessons for young girls. How is that going at the moment?
At the moment, it's really good. The classes have really grown over time. So we started off with about 10, 12 girls who would consistently come in. And then I moved location to the Emaan Khan Academy. And week by week, there's just 2, 3 new girls every single week. So now we've got a group of about 50.
Oh wow.
So I've got 2 hours on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I am looking to put a women's only class on a Wednesday as well. And fit some one-to-ones in between.
The sessions you run are also really accessible for people of all backgrounds, so because you run them at such a low cost. And I think that's really great because, as we said before, there's that lack of support for the youth of today, especially for young girls. And we also ran a charity boxing event, Inspire Capital ran it, and we were raising money for Longside Boxing Club, Moss Side Fire Station, and Mothers Against Violence, and you guys were at the event as well.
Yeah.
And
Great
what
event.
that's doing is promoting the idea that we need to support the youth of today to help them stay away from street crime and things like that.
Shakshuka.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well, I was going to let her put that. Just,
Yeah.
careful, it's very hot.
Wow, that's good.
oh.
That does look good, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Big business for the weekend.
So the purpose of that event was to raise awareness to help the youth of today's society have different outlets to go to help them get off the streets and things like that. So when you guys were younger, did you have that support?
No, not really. Like we say, we sort of, my brother now has opened an amateur gym in our area. We used to travel 40 minutes every day. Obviously, back in the day, it was tough for us. We come from humble backgrounds and stuff. It wasn't affordable really, but parents were sort of dedicated because they saw that I enjoyed it and they'd drive us there. But we never had a club to go to. Never mind, support and outlets like you guys are providing for the youth today. So I think it's massive, and I think without obviously that support, there wouldn't be us or.
Oh yeah.
We were lucky because our parents backed us really, but not everyone's that lucky, so they need help, and we've got to help them out.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to realise that it's not important for these sports clubs to be around for physical health. It's also for that mental health support, and it's
Yeah, I think it just goes all back to like creating opportunity.
exactly.
Creating opportunity for the youngsters, like you said. Not all of them are going to be professional boxers at the end of
Yeah.
the day, or whatever it may be. Some of them will just want to go there just to, for a release.
Yeah.
It's all, like I said, it's all good for your mental health. And as a youngster, especially in today's society, you almost need something to concentrate on to divert your negative energy or even your positive energy, and just channel it all into one avenue. And whatever they decide to do with that, that's up to them at the end of the day. Some will go on to maybe become world champions, some will become top CEOs, and just like goes back to what me and Aqib were saying, we wouldn't be here today in this lovely restaurant drinking amazing mocktails. I just thought I'd slip that in. It's a very nice mocktail. How's your ones?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Really good. I enjoy mine.
Yeah,
It's not
touch
like you
yours.
touched it, yeah.
I had a sip.
Same.
I mean, I think I've enjoyed mine the most.
But yeah, no, like I
no,
was saying,
for-
just all it goes, it literally just comes back to the element of creating opportunity for the youngsters, and then once they hit a certain age or a pinnacle of what they're doing, it gives you almost give the reins to them, and they decide what to do.
When they're old enough, yeah, 100%, definitely. And I feel sometimes, I don't know about you, but with us, our amateur gym, it felt like a family. Even though we was the only Asian kids in there from our background and stuff, it still felt like a family. You'd go to the gym, there was no judging anyone. Everyone was the same. No one was any different. So, I think now
It goes back to what Sannah was saying about
yeah,
having someone to talk to.
yeah, 100%.
Not every household
Yeah.
are very family oriented.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you get many that are, but
Yeah,
you get the anomalies that are not.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So like you said, it gives them that family
Yeah,
atmosphere and that community
I
cohesion.
think it's important that the club that you go to, it does become a family situation, Me and my brother were like two of the only South Asians, but the way the rest of the gym integrated at the time, it was really amazing. I remember like they came to my 16th birthday, and then I went for Umrah, which they didn't have much knowledge about, but they still came over to my house and then
Yeah.
had Zamzam with my family. So I think that's really good to have like an open mind and to try and get to know everybody.
No, and that's what it's all about, creating that supportive environment
Yeah.
for you to carry on and excel in your career. Again, that's what you provide to the people that you work with. But it's also nice to hear that both of you have experienced that in your
Oh, yeah.
professional work as well.
Definitely, and I try to still, even now. Last night we was at the show together, and we had a young kid on, and just being in his corner, being there to support him. It was only his second skills bout, something like 10 years old, but him looking at me maybe as like a role model sort of thing, and me being there for him, helping him, supporting him, it's massive, and that will go a long way for that kid.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll remember that for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
he will.
Yeah.
I remember just the pros in our gym. Craig Watson was one of them. Don't know if you remember him. It's just little spars with me and stuff. And I remember him now.
Still, you're talking about
Yeah,
now.
yeah, do you know what I mean? I remember
Yeah.
him to this day. And just little things like that spark that little belief in your
Yeah.
mind where you
Yeah.
think, you know what, I can do spar with him, even though you're a kid and you're not playing. In your mind, you're thinking, I can spar with him. I can do what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? And it's not true really at the time, but it becomes true, doesn't it?
Literally, yeah. You speak it into existence.
Yeah, that's it.
When you were working your way up into professional boxing, did you ever think that you would be someone that a younger person would look up to?
No, I still don't think I am really. Sometimes you have to remind yourself
Exactly.
that you are, yeah,
Yeah.
because we're just normal, like
What you got to remember is
we're normal people.
myself and like as fighters, we're still on the journey.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? We're still on the journey. Obviously, I hope I'm inspiring youngsters on the way. But I mean, ultimately, when we do get to the top and we reach our goals, I think that's when you can actually look back and think, I've got this pedestal. I'm on this pedestal now, and now I can actually, instead of making a little impact, make a massive impact on the community as a whole. But yeah, just goes back to what you're saying about reminding ourselves that we're still on the journey.
Yeah.
But I mean, alongside the journey, we're still inspiring others without even realizing.
Exactly. And I think nowadays in our generation, because we've got social media and different things like that, where you can connect with people in the sense that they can see your journey. So as you said, you're still early on in your careers,
Yeah.
but because everybody can see that at any given time, it is more likely that they will look up to you, because they're probably thinking, okay, this young person is making it and I can see their journey, why can't I relate to that?
It's always like it's a bit surreal. 'Cause like the other day, I had a youngster come up to me and goes, "Yeah, you really inspire me." And like, when you hear it, you're like,
You feel like someone sent him over to say lie to you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
that's like,
exactly how you feel. You're like, "What, me?" Nah. But then what you realise when you put yourself, when I was in his shoes, I was exactly the same. I was looking at fighters, not even who were world champions, like just who won their career. And I used to be like massively inspired by them. So it's definitely a surreal moment because, like I said, you do it without even realising. And then some days you get the odd, like I said, child comes up to you. I mean, he's had it loads as well. So it is a bit surreal, to be fair.
So you mentioned the positive interactions that you've had. Have you had any negative interactions, whether it's online or in person?
I think when it comes to South Asian boxing, I'm sure Aqib would agree. I'm probably the most controversial South Asian
I've
boxer
seen a few things.
out there. Well, I've patched up the issues I had and whatnot, but I've been through it, man. I had one bad performance. I still won the fight, but I had a bit of a negative. I think through to
Yes. Sure.
yeah.
was that mine? Thank you very much.
Yeah, some more time.
Oh, that mic's a bit too
I look
close.
like the most difficult thing to eat,
Oh, you-
especially in the
Oh,
camera, innit?
true.
So thank you.
Don't start cutting up and acting all
Punch out and grabbing it.
Chicken waffle with maple syrup.
Oh, is that the maple syrup?
Yes.
All right.
French toast. Korean omelette and sugar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. I think you're going back to what I was saying about at a point I was one of the most controversial South Asian boxers in the sport, because going back to I think 2 years ago I had a bad performance. I still won the fight, but I had a bad performance and I got a lot of backlash off that. And I mean, you got to remember before that I was this upcoming prospect who was like doing everything right, doing this, doing that. You couldn't fault me. Then overnight, boom, the flip switched, and you're getting abused on social media. You're getting threats like, "I'm gonna do this." No one done nothing, and I never had anyone say anything to my face, hence why I wasn't that affected. But at the time when it happened, I was like, I had to like log out of social media. Like, I've never done to do that in my life, so I had to log out and just leave it there for about 2
And did you
weeks.
do
and I
that
had
off
to
your own back?
Yeah, I done
Or
it
was
on my own back.
Okay.
And with my mates as well, we all decided, and I jumped off it, went to Dubai for a bit. I thought I'd get away from it, and then I had it more over there as well. People asked me what happened, but it was alright. It died down, and then that died down. And then recently, obviously, I had that spat, whatever I had, and obviously, you just get a lot of backlash from it. And I've had loads of abuse. I mean, to be fair, it's almost a blessing in disguise because I'd rather have it earlier on in my career now, and
toughens you up, doesn't it?
deal with it now, rather than having to deal with it while you got
Where you're not prepared.
bigger following, more people know you.
More important, bigger fights.
Exactly.
more
It's
on
just
the line,
if anything, it's a distraction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
a distraction, but like I said, it goes back to saying that it was definitely a blessing in disguise, and it's matured me as a kid because when it all happened, I was like, you got me as a fighter, you're ready to go. I was like, what you said this?
Yeah.
What you think about it? Instead of like
So
fighting
that's the
everyone on
danger,
social
though,
media.
isn't it, of social
But
media?
then what you got to remember, you can't please everyone.
No.
In life, right? You
You're
can't
gonna-
please everyone,
100%.
and that's it, man. So I've definitely learned a lot from it, and if I could go back, I'd change a lot of things, but obviously you can't, and I think it was just written.
And as long as you learn from the challenges you face.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I just
amazing.
turn a negative situation into a positive situation.
Yeah,
Take the good, go with the good, take the bad with the bad, and just like you said, learn from it.
definitely. So, the first
Right.
bite you have to do chewing into the mic. Wait, who's going first? Well, you're ready, so do you want to go first?
He's doing it so seductively as well.
So you look ready,
Go on.
go on.
Ready? Can you hear it?
I can't hear anything. Why don't you try slurping your drink a bit?
It's a good idea.
Do you want a toast as well?
So I'll slurp it.
Just, yeah.
Ready?
Could you hear that? I think it needs to be longer. I think you need
Do you
to.
reckon?
Why do you have to do this?
I don't think mine's very noisy.
Go on,
I'm not gonna
Emaan.
lie.
You can't hear nothing, can you? Yeah, I told you. Same as mine. Waffle.
Yeah.
So, Sannah, as you mentioned earlier, you work with young girls. How would you say that you build that confidence, which obviously positively impacts their mental health?
I think being confident myself and putting myself out there. So going into schools, colleges, universities, and then for the girls who are interested, for them to be able to come into the boxing gym. And it's strange because there's a couple of girls who I wouldn't ever think would be in a boxing gym setting because of how quiet and shy they started off. Only for them, I'd say give it about 4 or 5 weeks, and they've made so many friends and they've really come out of their comfort zone. And the parents to be then acknowledging that, saying your classes have really helped. My daughter is becoming so much more confident, and I think that's one of the most rewarding things that come out of the classes.
Do you see that change
Definitely.
in the girls over
Definitely.
time?
Yeah. I think it's my own personality. I have to show them that I can be like their friend and they can trust me. Because if I was like just quite a stern coach, I don't think they'd come out of their comfort zone. But I have to be like that as well.
And as we said before, it's all about building that community and family feel. That's what makes you open up and makes you realize, okay, like I can do these things. I can branch out, and that's what builds the confidence.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So as professional boxers, both Hamzah and Aqib, what mental health support do you get in terms of the professional support?
In terms of support, I think it just goes back to having that team, people you can talk to, because in that way you maintain a healthy mental health.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But in terms of self-experience, how I've come across it, when I was younger, about ages of I think 13 to about 16, my father went inside prison for whatever he done, and you got to remember they're like pivotal ages where you almost need a father figure in your life.
Of course.
So at the time when I was younger, you don't realise it is mentally it's tough mentally. It is tough, but I only realize now when I look back on it. You know what I'm saying? When I look back on it and I realize like these are the experiences and trials and tribulations that I had to get through to understand my mental health. You know what I mean? To understand why I see things as I see them and why I do things as I do them. But yeah, now it's just, I think the obstacles I face now in terms of mental health is just after having like tough days and whatnot in the gym or whatnot, and you come home and you're in your room. Obviously you do talk to certain people, but when you're in your room, and I'm sure Aqib can relate, and you've had a bad day and it's just you and you overplay certain scenarios in your head.
Yeah.
But then again, how I counter that is just through faith, just through praying, just keeping strong in my mind, and they just complement each other really, truly.
Of course.
Yeah.
And Aqib, you went through quite a difficult time during the pandemic, and you even had fights during that time period as well. What do you think supported you the most during that time?
I think for me it was a bit of a distraction more than anything, actually fighting. So going back to the pandemic, my mum was in the ICU in a induced coma at the time of one of my fights. Also, one of my best friends, my sister, was also in hospital at the same time as mum. A lot of people don't know she was also in hospital with COVID, but she wasn't as serious as mum, but she was still was on the borderline of putting her into an induced coma as well. And for me, my dad, because they all had COVID, and at the time if you failed a COVID test, you couldn't fight.
Isolated,
yeah. So dad said to me, listen, you're gonna have to go.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Don't risk your fight. So I said to him, right. So I moved to Jamie's got a house. My coach Jamie's got a house where the fighters all stay and stuff. So I stayed there, and it was just them, like you say, them lonely thoughts at night when I was alone, and faith, praying was a lifesaver, because it's a weird one, isn't it? Sometimes you turn when you need something, when you struggle. And I think that strength and that belief and that faith that builds up in them times sort of carries through your life then. And it's something that I've really, like, not perfect, but since then, it's sort of always in the back of my mind, need to pray, because it helped you then.
Yeah.
And I think definitely for me, that's one of the biggest things. And also good people around you, like you said, your team, your family. My coaches, Jamie and Nigel, they're like family, you know what I mean? So when all that was going on, they was round every other day, ringing me literally 3-4 times a day. Nigel, Nigel, every day is on the phone. What's going on? Any updates? Any this and that? And then my mum passed away as well after. They was in the mosque praying the janazah. They've never been to a mosque before. Praying the janazah. I didn't know what to do. Just copying everybody. And I feel like that support, they were like family. And obviously our community now, they're very supportive to me and my brother and Hamzah and stuff. So we're lucky in that sense where when you need people, they're there. And I think talking to someone is obviously something that a lot of people, don't like to do in our community, but it's something that I think needs to be done more. And even reaching out to a professional if you need to, because I think it's definitely worth it, and it's something that can save your life.
Yeah, no, of course. And what is also beneficial is hearing public figures and other sports people speak out about it. So what you're doing, being open about it and open about your personal life and the difficulties you've been through, a lot of young people might be able to relate to that, and it's inspiring to hear your story.
Listen, just because I went through it in the pandemic and it was then, and we're now a year and a half, 2 years later, doesn't mean it's done. It's over. It's something that it's up and down all the time. You don't want to go into it too much, but it's something that it's always there. But you learn to be stronger, and it sort of builds you, and sort of like we talked about earlier, it trains you for tougher times.
Yeah, for real.
I think when you always look back and you connect the dots backwards, something I always like to say, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to add, actually, going back to what we were saying about inspirations and that, I think if people look at Aqib, what he's been through and how he's come through it, because listen, what he went through could defeat a lot of people mentally, physically, and to do what he's doing, going out to Abu Dhabi fighting here in front of thousands of people, just got to give the credit and the inspiration to myself as well, man.
Oh,
yeah, definitely. And at such a young age as well.
Yeah, I was 21 at the time, and to be honest with you, a lot of people don't know. I also broke my hand in the hospital after Mum passed away, because at the time he wasn't allowed in to see. So when she was passing away, you want your family all there and stuff. But in COVID, there was only letting 2 people in at the end. So my elder brother and my dad went in, and I was outside, and they wouldn't let me in, so you can imagine the frustration. You know what I mean? So I ended up hitting the wall.
So that's how you hit it.
That's how I broke my hand. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
So that's how I broke my hand, and
So
then
this is an exclusive.
yeah, and then obviously I had my hand operation, and then I was out. You know what's that? When you get a hand operation, you
Yeah.
can't train, you can't do
nothing.
nothing.
How long were you out for though?
12 months.
Oh, okay.
But looking back, definitely needed it.
Yeah,
Because if I was to go into a fight soon after that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd have been ready.
of course.
So looking back, it all worked out. But it's working out. Like I said, it's not over. It's not something that you think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm past that. You still hits you in different days and on different days and stuff. But yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
I also, to be honest with you, at the time, in the back of my mind, I felt like I'd retired. I was telling Hamzah yesterday, I retired for 12 months. Like, I was going to the gym every day still, just because of that family support like we mentioned earlier.
But mentally as well, you needed that break, not just physically.
Yeah, most definitely.
And as you said, once you have that break, you can work on yourself. And as you said, you're still going to the gym. You were still experiencing that social aspect of.
Yeah, I couldn't train. I was
Yeah.
doing my job. My arm was tired after 2-3 rounds anyway because I was so overweight
Yeah.
and unfit. But it was just something that just going around the gym, seeing my coaches, Jamie, Nigel, having a break from home. It was just something that you needed it, and it's something that saved my life definitely.
Yeah. And during that time, did you have any professional input from psychologists or psychiatrists?
No,
with
not at the
work?
time.
No.
Not at the time. More recently, I have.
Okay.
I speak to a good guy, who's sort of helped and gives you sort of different techniques, things that you don't think about, normal things
Yeah.
like cold showers, little cheats here and there to sort of help you and
Little pick me ups.
yeah, to help you to get your stress levels down and stuff. So I think that's important, and it's something that back then I was like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need that. I frowned upon it, and sort of got forced into it by Jamie, my coach, who said, "Listen, why don't you speak to him?"
Yeah.
And ever since, he's helped me out big time.
Of course. And just picking up on the sort of professional clinical support that you get, it doesn't sound like you get as much support in mental health than you do for physical health. Because obviously before like big fights, you'll have the physical health checks.
Yeah.
But are there mental health checks that are done? Or is it not? It's not like
There's
a
nothing in
requirement.
place,
Okay.
but I suppose one form of it is doing what we're doing now, right?
Yeah.
Giving people an opportunity to hear how we see it. And I think if anyone does see it and they're struggling, give any of us, all four of us here, give us a call, see what we can do.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. I think in our community, one thing that everybody goes through at some point, and this is just generically, anxiety. Aqib, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Sorry, it was just a bad stroke.
No, it's fine. You enjoy. Hamzah, I'm sure, like you said, with the things that have happened, you've probably experienced it, and I have as well during school and college, to the point where it was affecting my physical health, and yeah, it kind of got a bit out of hand until my mum kind of doctor's appointments and speaking to a psychologist. But that's the one thing I didn't want to do, only to then kind of get past it all. And alhamdulillah, doing well now. But I think one thing that really, really helps is just chatting to somebody.
Of course.
And whether that be somebody medical or somebody you can trust, but it is so important to just speak to someone.
Yeah, no, and it is that stereotypes of like psychologists and therapists, and they're just pointless, and I'm gonna talk and they're just gonna waffle, and you can assume, like, it is easy to think there's not gonna be any progress there, but it is just offloading the experiences you've been through and just having someone there to listen to you. So whether it's a family member or a friend or a professional, it is really important. And to be fair, I am surprised that there aren't as many psychological health checks, especially in the sports industry, where you'd think the pressure of performance is such a big thing.
Massive.
And I think I read somewhere actually that sports anxiety, I think around 30 to 60% of athletes have sports anxiety. And even if you're not consciously aware that you're struggling, I just heard that nice.
I was going to say, should we use that bit?
Natural ASMR.
So yeah, sports anxiety, it's obviously a big thing. So do you guys have any maybe techniques or things that you do when you're feeling anxious or stressed before a fight or public appearances for you?
I think recently with public appearances, one thing that I can't help, and I think this is based off my anxiety. And it's something that nobody would ever spot. But I get really nervous initially in a new setting, like
Right.
a bit too nervous.
We don't come across as
And I don't come across it, but I can sometimes. I remember British Muslim TV, the first time I was live, my heart was beating up my chest and I couldn't control it. Just breathing techniques. I think now because I've got used to it, it gets better. But the more you keep doing it and being consistent with it, I think that has gone away now.
Yeah. And if you know what your triggers are as well,
Yeah.
so maybe being on live TV, and I can imagine that is quite, not traumatizing, but it's difficult. But if you know the techniques that help you calm down, that's really great. What about you guys? Have you got any?
I think something I've started doing recently is cold showers, and I know everyone goes on about
Yeah.
this and that, but it does help, you know, because I'm one of them people. I'm the kind of person that when you are stressed, and I only realised that my stress levels were high when I had it tested, my blood tests and stuff. Because in our sort of field, you might be stressed, you might feel it, but you just ignore it.
Yeah.
And just on to the next day, on to the next task, on to the
Until
next
it builds up and builds up.
Yeah,
And
on
it
to the
is
next
fast
session.
paced, isn't it? When you
Yeah,
or
yeah.
in your training
There's no time to
programs,
sit and
yeah.
think, well, I need to sort this or I need to do that. Sometimes you don't have the time.
Yeah.
And a lot's going on. So you sort of like layer things and
Yeah.
and then they stack and they get on top of each other and think something that we should do really is talking to someone.
Yeah.
And when you do, sort of,
Yeah.
instead of stacking up and layering up, you're getting rid of each problem at a time. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier that way, yeah.
No, and of course you're both undefeated, so that is just an additional pressure in itself.
I'll go about it three ways. The first way is I've put myself in this situation. I chose to do boxing,
Yeah.
so everything that comes with it, I understand. I've always understood. Number two is when I'm going into like a big fight. I think, listen, if you look at this, like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to lose. I'm going to get knocked out, and I'll come back from it, right? And the best thing is I win, and the happy days on to bet. But as long as I've done everything in my capable power to make sure that, not to make sure, but to do my best to ensure that I don't lose.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Like, I'll happily go into a fight. I won't be anxious about nothing.
Yeah.
I understand that I put 100% into training. I understand what, like I said, what the worst that can happen, what's
Yeah.
the best that can happen. So I think as long as you're aware of it,
Yeah.
I understand some people are aware of it and they still struggle. If that's the case, then my advice would be just turn to pray. And if you don't pray, meditate. If you don't believe in God, meditate.
Of course.
But it's like I said, I'm not like I keep banging on about prayer. I don't pray 5 times a day. I do try my best.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I'm not perfect, but it's just how I overcome these certain obstacles.
Yeah. You know what I thought you were gonna say?
Go on.
Animal therapy, because I've seen.
That's a good one, actually.
I've seen you have
That's
a lot
very
of
good
pets.
one. Yeah, I've got 4 cats. I've got 4 cats.
Right.
And I've got 1 dog. And animals, like I said, animal free. They actually is mad.
They
Like,
do.
you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
and they'll come
Yeah.
and they will like.
And they can sense it, can't they?
but
As
the
your pet.
thing is, whenever I'm at home, I'm not in camp, so I'm always in a happy
yeah.
mood and I'm good. So they don't really see me like
Yeah.
that. But I might just have to ship one of them to America.
Take one with you.
That's a good idea.
Just but yeah, no, that's actually a really good. I didn't think of that. You know?
Yeah. No, subconsciously, 100%.
Yeah,
It's probably something
The
that
pets are
you
keeping
didn't.
you sane.
Yeah, it's probably something you not thought about
It's
as well.
true,
That
actually.
does help you
Like,
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
out for when you go for like
Walks and stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's an instant,
Yeah.
instant stress relief.
Exactly.
Didn't think of that. It's a very good one. I'm gonna be an advocate for that.
So just before we finish, I wanted to ask you guys, knowing what you know now, what's one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self?
Did you see that? Did you get it? Right. Anyway,
Aqib's do.
I might just have to get.
Is it nice?
That was really good.
Sorry, Sannah, back to the piece of advice.
I'd say one piece of advice I'd give to my younger self is to have the right people around you. To always know who to turn to when you need support. Don't be afraid of asking for help. And yeah, enjoy the journey. Don't be too hard on yourself.
That's good advice. I think most of the younger generation need that push nowadays.
Yeah.
Aqib?
I'm gonna nick that one. That's my favourite one. Don't always focus on the end goal. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Because sometimes that's more enjoyable than the actual victory at the end.
Yeah. I think my one would be. I got 2. Always work hard and work harder than yesterday. I live by that. So always work hard and work harder than yesterday. and never act upon a hot head. Simple.
And would you say you've gained that experience through situations you've been in?
Yeah, of course, 100%. That's what I mean. You can only give experience if you've been through them
Once
yourself,
you've been
right?
through it, yeah, exactly.
And like I said, we're all still young. We're all learning.
Yeah,
We're all
we've got
making
loads of
mistakes.
experiences to go through.
Yeah.
In life and in boxing and everything in general.
Yeah.
So,
I
like
think-
you said, we're just enjoying the journey.
I was going to say, in general, don't be afraid to make mistakes. We always focus on what we're going to do right, but I found doing things wrong before getting it right makes the end result better as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
No, it is the fear of like messing up, but
Yeah.
that's what shapes you and makes you who you are, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And finally, what are your future goals for the next year? Whether professionally or in your personal life?
So to carry on with my coaching, and I have been selected to be on the Women's Coach Development Programme, which has just started.
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
So I'm hoping we have a graduation for that at the end of next year, but in between we've got a few residentials and really getting stuck into it. So that's my goal for the next year, and hopefully start my own brand as well.
And of course, graduating from your...
Oh, graduating from my masters, yeah, of course. Can't forget that one. But yeah,
She didn't mention it because it's easy. It's on the side that.
What about you, Aqib?
Hopefully this year I want to win some titles now. And by the end of the year I want to be in a position to be fighting for the British title or fighting for the British title. So yeah, and that's about it really for this year. And in the long term, just look after my family and provide a better life for them. Yeah.
Cool.
Mine just to keep winning, because everything revolves around that, right?
Yeah.
It's like the heartbeat of the body.
Yeah.
Just keep winning, keep training hard, and that's it. Just focus on the next fight.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best with your future plans
Likewise.
ahead.
Well, you did tell us your goal.
But my goal.
Yours.
My goal is probably to carry on with my studying. I want to get to a doctorate, so work on my career. Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the food. How was the food?
Yeah, fantastic.
Very nice.
What was this? Luso.
Luso.
So if anyone's in Manchester, make sure you come down to Luso. Amazing food, amazing drinks. Thank you very much.
We're gonna have to come back after the fight.
Aqib
guys-
can't wait to do more ASMR for everyone.
Thank you so much for listening in to today's podcast. Once again, thank you to my guests and Luso for hosting today's video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next podcast.